Did you know that HTVRONT came out with a new auto press? It's the Auto Press 2, and I'm excited to be working with HTVRONT to show you all about it. So let's get started. So HTVRONT sent me this machine, and I'm going to show you a few of its features, as well as demoing about 5 projects, so that I can give you a variation of different things that it can do. Okay, to start, you'll see that this display actually has several modes here so that you can see it from different angles. And what's different about this is it has this large display and it's all digital, and it also includes several buttons here to show you what capabilities it has. All the buttons are labeled here. As you can see, we have a power button here, and then we have the time, temp, pressure, and mode. The mode comes with 4 modes already preset for you, and then you have a custom button here where you can create your own settings or your own modes. And then you have the plus and minus here, that's an increase or the decrease, so that you can increase or decrease time, pressure, or temperature. And then you have the auto button here, and then of course your start button. Here is a reminder of the first version that HTVRONT came out with. This is their first auto press, and to compare, this is the Auto Press 2. Like the first auto press, it has a pull-out drawer ironing board, and it measures 15 by 15, so that's going to be the same measurement as the original, but you will notice that it also has a larger clearance, so you're able to press thicker items than you can with the original version. The box includes a manual and also a Teflon sheet, and this is the manual, which has in a couple of different languages, and it has an explanation of all the buttons, and it also has a table here of suggested times and temperatures, as well as some information on the features. Also included are specifications. Like I mentioned, it has a 15 by 15 heat plate, and it weighs about 43 pounds. There also has some FAQs here and some information about the limited warranty. It does have a warranty of 1 year. So be sure to read it thoroughly to see what's covered within that warranty. And we have a metal surface here, which does get hot when it's turned on, and the rest of it seems to be plastic. The ironing board does include a heat mat. Also, we have a couple of warnings. We have right here, caution hot surface, avoid contact. Like I said, this piece does get hot, and you do want to make sure that when you pull out your ironing board that you keep your hands clear from the heat plate, which is right under here. And then there's also another notice here reminding you of what I just said to avoid contact with this heat plate. Okay, so I've had this turned on for a little bit. It actually had an auto shut off, so I think it has a 15-minute auto shut off, so that's a good feature. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on so we can start our demo. When I first received this auto heat press, I put a picture on Facebook and I asked you guys what you wanted to see me demonstrate, and I have a few things here, so let's get started. For my first project, I'm going to sublimate a few of these dinner napkins with some Christmas monograms. So I'm going to go ahead and change the temperature to 400 degrees and we'll press for 60 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and press this temperature button, and I'm going to press the plus button till I get to 400. I'm going to try, if I can hold it down, it might go up. Yep, there it goes. And we'll stop at 400. And then we're going to go ahead and press the time button here, and I'm going to increase it. Right now it's 20 seconds. Let's try that again. Time button, we're going to increase it to 60 seconds. And then there we go. Okay, so there is a pressure button here. Like I mentioned, this is a auto press, but it also has the ability to change the pressure. It defaults at 50 pounds, but if we press this, it goes up to 170 pounds. So you press the pressure button and then you can increase it, and we can go up to 170 pounds. We don't need that much weight, so I'm going to go ahead and try it at 50. Okay, so while this was heating up, I went ahead and pressed my dinner napkin. I'm going to go ahead and cut out one of these monograms, and I'm going to go ahead and set it onto this napkin with some heat tape. Okay, so one thing to note, I do use parchment paper or butcher paper to protect my heat pad. And so when I'm doing my napkins, I'll go ahead and put a piece of butcher paper down, and then I put the napkin down and then center the design. So you make sure you have your design face down, center it, and then you use some heat tape to secure it. You don't need much, just a couple of pieces. And then you want to make sure you also put another piece on top, and that will prevent ink bleeding onto the underside of your heat plate. Now, you want to do that because if you do get ink on your heat plate, then it might transfer on a different project. So you want to make sure you have butcher paper or parchment paper underneath your project and also on top. Okay, it's almost done. Now it goes up. There is a beep, and we'll go ahead and see how it turned out. It is super hot. Let's just see. Oh, wow. That came out great. That was actually just the right amount of pressure. So you can see there isn't hardly any ink left on my paper, which means it had a really good transfer. And if we look closely, you can see that tea came out nicely. I'm just going to go ahead and do all my napkins really quick. Just takes a second. So again, I'm just going to press these real fast and then sublimate. I do want to note that while this is pressing, I do hear a little sound like it's pressure or something. So you will hear something. Perfect. Okay, that's my last one. All 5 of them came out great, and I'll show you them at the end. Now we'll move on to another project. Okay, for my next project, I'm going to test out these ceramic sublimation ready ornaments. I'm actually going to try to do them two-sided with just one press and not turning them. So we'll see how that works. Okay, so I'm just going to change the time here because we're doing ceramic. I'm going to move it to 180 seconds. So again, this is the time button, and we're just going to hold this down. And it should jump up pretty quickly. Okay, we're going to leave I want to use the minimum pressure available, which is 50 pounds, to make sure that my image is centered properly on the ceramic. Since I can't see through it like I do with my normal glass ornaments, I'm going to use this circle punch to cut out my images, and then I'll just attach them with heat tape. Okay, so I have 3 of these done, two-sided like I said, and secured with some heat tape. I have my butcher paper. I'm going to go ahead and cover this. We're at temperature. I'm leaving it at default pressure, and let's see how it goes. Okay, for this you want to make sure you have your heat gloves. Let's see how they turned out. Okay, moment of truth. Hey, not bad. Oops. Not bad at all. That actually was without turning. So that pressure was good. But both sides had pretty good ink transfer from my print. So I think they look pretty good. So that worked with that regular pressure that I used, just default 50 pounds at 400 degrees for 180 seconds. So those 3 came out very nice. And I've never done it when I did both sides at one time, so that's a good result. Okay, for the next project, we're going to do another hard substrate. Again, butcher paper. Okay, so this project, I'm going to use this thick hardboard. It's MDF with a sublimation coating so that we can press an image on top of here. I wanted to do something thick to see how this does, so let's change the temperature for this project. Okay, so for this, we need to change the temperature to 356. Oops, that's the time. It does go in increments of 5, so we'll get to 355. And the time is going to be 150 seconds. So this, you can see it's gonna go down pretty quickly. It's gonna adjust the temperature and we'll be able to press this in a minute or so. Okay, we're at 355. It actually was able to go down a temperature really quickly. I'm gonna change the pressure. I'm gonna do it to 80. Actually, I'll do 90 because I do wanna make sure that this has a really good pressure since it's such a thick substrate. I don't have to worry about it breaking. Okay, so you wanna make sure you have this part down here towards the bottom because this is the hanger and this is for the stand. So you want to keep this as straight as possible. I did create my design slightly larger than the substrate. I think this is 8 inches and I did like 8.1 in Canva. And so we'll just center that as much as we are able to, and then I'll secure it with tape. I'm just getting some long pieces of tape to hold that down. We want to make sure it doesn't move while we're pressing. Okay. We want to flip it over so the paper is facing up, the back side is facing up, and then we cover it again with some butcher paper. Okay, and then we press. Okay, let's see. I can see the ink has already gone through the butcher paper. That's why we want to make sure we use butcher paper. And let's just take a peek. Okay, I can see that it didn't actually go all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this, and hopefully we don't get any ghosting. Just rotating it so that it gets an even press. Hopefully this works. And I'm going to actually stop it probably around 75 seconds. I don't think it needs much longer than that, and we'll see what happens. Okay, that's about time. Let's see. That looks pretty good, actually. I think maybe I could risk doing it a little bit longer. I just hate to get some ghosting on there. I wanted to do a full color, at least on part of it, so we can see how even the press is. I'm always like leery about pressing again, because even the slightest movement of this paper, which it's moving, I can tell it's moving. I don't want to risk it. So let's just rip it off and see what happens. Actually, it's better than I thought. So these MDF photo boards are a little tricky because it does require quite a bit of pressure, and you want to make sure you get an even press. I don't know what happened there. It looks like the tape took off some of that there. That's not good. Okay. This is really, really hot. Okay, so that looks pretty good. If you look right here, there's a slight fading, or there's not enough heat there. I don't know. Turning it did help and improved it, and it looks pretty good. And like I mentioned, my tape took off just a little piece of coating there, which kind of stinks because otherwise it would have been almost perfect. So on the back here, like I said, it has a slot for the stand, so you can either just stand it up like that, or you can hang it up, which is really cute. So I think that was a success. So if I did it again, I would turn it like I did without peeking, just to make sure. I usually do that anyway when I'm using other presses, just because I know these substrates are a little difficult to get the first time, but I'm happy with it. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and put a transfer on this tote bag. So let's first remove any lint with a lint brush. I'm going to be doing both sides, so let's make sure we take off the lint on both sides. And then let's get the wrinkles and moisture out by pressing it real quick. Okay, so I'm going to be doing some branding on these tote bags. I have a print here from Pro World, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half so I can have one side for one side in the front and one side in the back. They recommend about a 315-degree heat, and we'll be pressing it for 10 seconds. And I'm going to use, semi-heavy pressure at 90 pounds. I'm just centering this here, and then we'll get started. Okay, I'm just going to use a piece of butcher paper on top, and we're going to go ahead and press. Okay, that was fast. Perfect. And then now we're going to put the butcher paper over, and we're just going to press it one more time just to make sure it sets. And let's take a good look. You can see it's really embedded in there. So that was actually the perfect amount of pressure. I was at 90 pounds. Feels good. All right, let's do the other side. I'm putting a piece of butcher paper down because I don't want my other side to get ruined. So we're going to put that on top. Center the next design. Okay, butcher paper and then press. Butcher paper again, and then we'll press one more time. And there we have it. Looks great on both sides. So that's a really fun way to get your branding on something. Okay, so we still have a couple more projects. Next one, I'm going to do HTV on this pillow cover from IKEA. So I'm going to go ahead and press this and get it ready. Okay, for this, we're going to change the temperature to 340 degrees. And the time is going to be 30 seconds. And we'll reduce the pressure to 50. Okay, so I was looking through the manual, and there is a guideline here that shows what the modes are preset as. There's 4 modes, like I talked about earlier on the mode button. And then you can also customize by using the custom button. You can customize up to 4 modes. And it shows here that all of these settings are at 170 pounds, which is the highest on this machine. I don't know if they're using PSI or just pounds. So is it pounds per square inch or just pounds? So I'm not sure what they're using as a metric, because 170 PSI would be very high in my opinion. So, but I'm going to try one of their modes just to see how it works on this HTV, and to see if we could just use these modes as described. Okay, so for HTV, they're recommending mode 1, which would be 295 for 15 seconds. But I'm using Smart Iron-On, and they recommend 340 for 30 seconds. I'm going to use the 340 for 30 seconds, but I'm going to try, I'm not going to try 170. I'm going to reduce it to, let's do 90, just to see. Because I don't think we need it that high, personally, considering all the other projects that we did. Let's do that. And also I want to tell you that if you press the auto button here, it will automatically press once you close the drawer. So let's try that. Okay, so now it's on auto. So now I'm going to take this out and put my HTV on the pillow cover. These wrinkles on these pillow covers from IKEA are very stubborn. I always have a hard time getting all of them out because they're folded for so long. And I've actually had this pillow cover for a couple of years just folded up. But let's center this and then we'll get this ironed. I'm going to go ahead and put a Teflon sheet on top. And then we'll try this auto mode. And there it goes. I didn't have to push any buttons. Okay. Let's see. Let's use the cooling block to cool down the HTV. These come in real handy. It's a HTS cooling block. It's from Heat Transfer Source. It's really just a block of marble or something. So you could always just use a scrap piece of marble or tile or something from the hardware store. Perfect. Here's a close-up. Nothing's lifting. It's on there really good. And, you know, I know their guidelines are just that. They're just guidelines. But I would suggest trying out your substrates. I mean, this is an awfully thick piece of cotton canvas pillow cover. So I think 90 pounds was good for it. I don't think I need to do the 170. But I say try things on small samples, and just depending on what vinyl you're using or which transfers you're using, depending on what you're pressing on. So test things out. Don't go by just their guidelines, because in my experience, it doesn't always work with what we're working with. Okay, so now I'm going to do a DTF. This is a gang sheet that I ordered from Pro World, and this is the Color Pro DTF that they have. I'm going to go ahead and cut out this cute Christmas cow, and we're going to put it on a tote bag. Okay, so for DTF, they recommend 325 degrees. I'm going to use the highest pressure we have at 170, and we're going to be pressing for 15 seconds. I cut out my print from the gang sheet. You can see there's the back. Super cute Christmas cow. I'm going to be pressing another cute canvas tote bag. This is 100% cotton canvas. We're going to go ahead and pre-press it. We're going to make sure we get all the wrinkles and moisture out, and also get the lint off of it. Okay, I have my print centered, and then we just press. This is warm peel, so we'll go ahead and remove it while it's still hot. A lot of people like to press again after they do DTF, but the instructions on this particular product did not say to do that, so I'm not going to. But as you can see, it came out beautifully. There's no lifting. This Color Pro DTF is very flexible. It's not real thick or heavy, so it will work great on a t-shirt as well. So I'm very happy with those results. The pressure was perfect. Okay, so before we go through the whole recap, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out to you about this Auto Heat Press 2. If you're in the middle of a press and you need to cancel it for any reason, you can press any button, it'll go back up to its original state. So for instance, if we wanted to start something and we change our mind, we stop it, it'll go right back up. So, and also if you are pressing something and you want to do it for less time, just press the button again and it'll stop the process. And also, just so you know, the MSRP on this machine is $349.99. However, I believe they are launching it at a lower price of $299. I'll go ahead and link all that information below. And before I give you my final thoughts, let's go over the projects once again. This is the HTV on a thick cotton pillow cover. This is Sublimation project on MDF. Here we have my Sublimation napkins. They are 100% polyester, monogrammed. They all came out wonderfully. And then these are the ceramic ornaments that I did two-sided with one press. And my DTF tote bag. And last but not least is sample I did with a branding tote bag. Overall, I'm very pleased with this machine. I do recommend it if you don't have an auto press already. The only drawback that I see right now so far is the guidelines that they provided for the heat press. I think it would be more useful if we could have more thorough guidelines as to what the pressure and pounds are per inch, if it's PSI, if it's pounds, how we can convert that so that we can make sure we're using the right pressure for the substrates. I really do like that it has the thicker clearance so that we can do thick projects. I think we could probably do something twice as thick than what we did here. And I'll be sure to be sharing more projects later on. I think there is an interest for people to want to see how it works with puff vinyl. And that's something that I'm going to research so I can thoroughly give you a tutorial. And if there's any questions that you have about the projects that I created or about the machine itself before you decide if it's for you, just drop them below and let me know. Again, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and follow for more. See you next time.